Hello Internet, it is Alex and Lewie from Barefaced, and we have another guitar speaker cab demo video for you. But before we start, I'm just going to address some questions that people have asked, and actually one was from, did you say it was your
old tutor?
Old tutor. Yeah.
And yesterday.
Yeah, and it was also someone on a YouTube comment, I think, and we get this in emails as well, basically saying, does the AVD work in different situations? So, if you're new here, this is the AVD. See, you can see the back of the speaker, you can see the magnet in there, and if you look hard enough, you'll see the cone. But you can see we've got these panels here, and we've got a slot of very specific width. It varies in width, actually, to do what we want it to do. And that lets the low frequencies, it acts like a port, so you've got a Helmholtz resonance, and at mid and high frequencies it lets the sound through this. The narrow slot diffracts it sideways, and then this waveguide couples it to the room, so you're basically transforming the acoustic impedance. So you get efficient coupling of these vibrations out to the room, and because it's a narrow slot that way, it spreads the sound predominantly out sideways before it then bounces round. And the thing is, people are concerned that if you have cabs in a line like there, can the sound get out and round? And Louis' old tutor, was asking, does it work if there isn't, something behind to reflect it? And what we found is, unless you're in an anechoic chamber, or maybe you're playing a gig in a field with nothing else behind you, so there's, you're not on a stage that's got other stuff happening behind it, it usually gets to you.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, because Louis, you played loads of gigs now.
Yeah.
With these, in loads of different places.
There's always something, a pole next to you, a low ceiling,
Stuff, sound,
drum kit.
Sound gets around.
Yeah.
And in terms of the output, when there's other stuff beside it and whatever, or, a small gap or a large gap, the only time we've noticed it doesn't work is if you really jam it against the wall.
Like it's touching.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like, as long as you've got a gap of maybe an inch.
I was going to say about an inch, yeah.
Yeah, about an inch. So that's 2.5 centimetres if you're metric, like 99% of the world, including us. But we're in that kind of, we go both ways. We are metric and imperial still to a degree.
Yeah.
Or I think the Americans call imperial English.
Do they?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Pretending there wasn't an empire. Sorry about the empire, but
Apologies.
Let's not dwell on that.
I think, when my tutor was talking about, he was asking about reflective surfaces. We're talking about playing at Casters in Brighton, and it's a cloth wall. They've hung a cloth behind the back.
Right.
So I don't know if that would make a difference. It would a touch, because that's what they do in studios, but I still think I've played there and it still works.
Yeah, exactly. If that wall was done like in an anechoic chamber with really absorbent stuff that absorbs efficiently at all the frequencies, then yeah. But that would sound really weird. If you're in a venue that had completely acoustically dead wall,
it'd be terrible.
It would sound weird. I mean, I imagine what probably would work, because people are very good absorbers.
Yeah.
One thing that would probably stop it working is if you had the back of it firing right at a crowd. If you had it firing at the feet of a crowd, then it would just vanish in, and the nearby people would get it. But you know how humans are for absorbing sound. When you do a sound check and then everyone turns up and the venue acoustics have totally changed because you've got these big squishy bags of water and stuff.
Often for the better.
Usually for the better. It just calms it down.
Yeah.
But people are pretty efficient absorbers.
But not for this.
Yeah, in the real world, because guitar puts out frequencies from about 80 hertz to 6,000 hertz, there's a lot of sound, a lot of frequencies, a lot of different wavelengths.
Move in at different...
And the way it's working is you hear the sound coming off the front of the speaker, and the sound coming off the back of the speaker gets to you. Well, hang on. You don't hear the sound just off the front of the speaker. You hear a combination of the direct sound from it and the reflections off it.
The reflections of the front of the speaker?
Yeah.
The reflections from the AVD. So you've got three sources technically, right?
Yeah, you've got multiple sources, because basically, the speakers, you've got the front's got the direct and the reflected.
Yeah.
And that's the same when we're having a conversation. I speak to Louis in here, and he's hearing my voice direct, but he's also hearing the reverb. In fact, this room, before we acoustically treated it, was so difficult to have a conversation in because the reverb went on for so long and was so dominant.
Yeah. It's good now.
But yeah, and then you've got the sound off the back, which is going to reach you via lots of different paths. And it's only when that path length is so long that I forget how many milliseconds it gets to, something like 40 milliseconds.
I had 60 in my head, but
yeah,
but
once it gets really long, then it starts to become an echo
Yeah.
and a separate sound. The other reason your brain might not manage to combine the two is if the sound coming off the back is sufficiently different to the sound from the front.
Tonally
Yes.
and volume and all that kind of stuff.
No, not
Mainly
tonally.
tone. Right, okay. That makes sense.
Because if it's completely different tonally, your brain recognises it as being a different thing.
Yeah,
So rather than sticking it. So this is psychoacoustics. This is the sort of thing where it's really hard to research and really hard to pin down because you're not measuring. It's really hard to demonstrate with microphones.
Yeah.
Because the microphone just hears stuff. It's not hearing where the sound's coming from.
Sure.
And doing all this spatial stuff, which our ears do. Which is why stuff sounds very different when it's coming to the front versus the back, because your ears perform differently in different directions.
You ever done that with the TV, where you face away from it and clap your hands like that, so the TV's coming from that way?
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Sounds so different.
It's all survival mechanisms. This is why we do this. There is no point hearing... If you want to not die growing up in the Stone Age or earlier, because bear in mind we haven't changed, humans haven't changed for a good few 100,000 years. We are the same creatures we were.
It's true.
And a saber-toothed cat is about to jump out on you. You want to realise that where it's coming from is the first sound you heard, not all the echoes that are distracting you location-wise.
Of course.
Yeah. And we're not very good at that at low frequencies because our ears are too close together and too small, so we don't have the phase difference and we don't have the level difference at low frequencies. But again, that doesn't matter because if there's an earthquake or a lightning strike, you can't save yourself from it, whatever happens.
It's true.
So low frequency rumbles are just not dangerous, they just happen.
Yeah.
Well, they may be dangerous, but you can't do anything about it, whilst avoiding getting eaten is more useful.
The high frequency animals that you hear, yeah.
Yeah, and get, maybe that's why we connect with the sound of a guitar. The screech of a guitar, the howl, the roar of a guitar is...
Maybe.
We feel it like something that's about to eat us. Anyway, we digress for
do.
quite some minutes, but I think that's useful, hopefully. Tell us if there's more questions on that.
Yeah.
So, we have here a... Yeah, you can see them.
There we go.
So, what we have here is, as a reference, we've got a Usurper 112W, so that's the wider version of R12, but we've just got it as a reference so you can hear what a V30 sounds like, because loads of you know what a V30 sounds like. And then we have the G12M Greenback. We have...
Greenback.
Did I say Greenback?
Yeah.
He's useful, isn't he? Right. G12M...
Greenback.
I'm good at this, really good at this. G12M Greenback. We've been doing a lot of stuff with creams recently, which is how I've got confused. The G12 EVH, which is essentially the same as a G12M Heritage Greenback. So they've just put an EVH logo on it. So the Heritage Greenback is more like the oldest Greenbacks that Eddie Van Halen liked. And then we've got the G12H Anniversary. So I believe that is a similar cone to these guys. Similarly low power. So this is 20 watts, this is 25 watts, this is 30 watts.
Yep.
But this has got the H magnet, H standing for heavy, so it's a slightly heavier cab because of that magnet, but it's more sensitive. So if I recall correctly, that's 100 dB sensitivity.
Right.
That's 97 and that's 96.
That's bit I've been playing through them. That's definitely quite the quietest.
Oh, that's the quietest.
So to my
I'm
ears so
sure
far.
that's meant to be the quietest.
We did change one quickly, so it might have been.
Oh.
But we'll see because it definitely was quietest.
Yeah, you're right actually.
Because I thought it was the EVH for ages because there's 20 watts. But
I thought.
I
mean, a 20 watt speaker isn't necessarily quieter or louder than a 30 watt speaker because that's just the power handling. It's the sensitivity that gives you the idea of the loudness. But the sensitivity isn't really best described by a number. It's best described by a graph. And actually, if you're being fussy, it's described by a polar plot as well.
Yeah.
Because it could be very loud when you're directly in front of it, but quite quiet because it's not dispersing very well in reality. So, particularly, you'll see that with quite a common problem when you go to the guitar drivers that have really big dust caps.
Yeah.
because the dust cap, that's this bit in the middle, this dome here, that radiates sound, but it also affects how the cone flexes, and when you go to a bigger dust cap, it tends to stiffen the cone.
Yep.
And the more
Less
stiff
of
the
it.
cone is, the more directional the cone becomes, because it
Okay.
acts more like a piston and less like a sort of ripply thing whose radiating area shrinks with increasing frequency.
Right.
Anyway, do you want to have a listen? We've got a Strat with...
noiseless pickups. I'm on the bridge because it just seems to work with that. It's got an EVH thing, so I picked up a red Strat that looks a bit like the Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be playing like Van Halen.
Oh, I was just about to say, and now Lewie is going to play Eruption.
He's not going to play Rush. I don't even have a whammy bar. Should we start with the V30?
Yes, so we've got a
Just for a
reference.
reference.
Hang on. Is that the V30?
It'd be a number 4.
Oh! We haven't got our bits of wood.
You don't have bits of wood, no.
Oh no, I do. I bit them in advance, didn't I? Hang on.
Did you?
Yes.
That's really impressive. Just sounds really nice, this guitar.
G12H. Yeah, there we go. Look at me.
Nice.
Look, we've got our CGI subtitles.
In advance, I'm so impressed.
Hang on, I just need the V31.
Oh yeah.
There it is.
Cool. Let's just start with the V30, eh?
We're a professional outfit. That's cool.
They're so nice, aren't they?
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
And vastly different.
Yes.
Like compared to the 3 Greenbacks we were doing the other day, like these sound so different to. I thought they sounded closer to each other
Yes.
than these 3 for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, surprisingly so.
Volume as well, massively different. Like what the amount of overdrive. Which was the quietest one? In the
That
end?
was the mellowest, wasn't it?
Yeah, in terms
EVH.
of kind of. Yeah.
Hang on, let's
Let's go to the first one, which is EVH. Yeah, it's like I've turned the overdrive down on the amp, isn't it? It's still pretty quiet. That is a touch quieter. You are right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that must have been a dodgy
Yeah.
drive we had in before. And then what's the third one?
Right, the Anniversary.
Cool.
Um,
That's letting through the Strat twang and the overdrive, isn't it? Yeah. That's awesome.
That's really good.
It's really nice, isn't it? Like, bearing in mind, this is a Strat on the bridge pickup as well, on 10, so like, it's not as like harsh and bright as I would expect. If I go to neck even, like, it's chunky, but then if I go to there, it's not too bright at all. I mean, it is bright, but it's not piercing. Like, I think the V30 probably would be. If I check the V30 on it, I reckon that's probably going
Okay,
to
so
be
yeah, let's do the Anniversary over the V30.
just like bridge and lead, see
Yeah.
how they compare. That one's so nice.
It's really nice. It's got a warmth and a colour, and it's not as clean as the V30.
It's
in the
not,
bass.
is it? No.
It's not as clean.
Which I like. The colour and it's really...
That's wicked.
Les Paul?
Something that came to mind when you switched to that, with the tightness and the brightness of it, because we've acquired a Gretsch
Oh, should we do some
2 days ago, and I was just that I'm a bassist, so I'm learning about this stuff, but I'd not taken a lot of notice of Gretsch's. I was aware, I remember being aware a long, long time ago about Malcolm Young playing that Gretsch, which had it had holes for 3 pickups, but there was only one in it. That was his sort of classic one.
Oh, okay, so it stops the...
Yeah, just simplified it, and yeah.
So they say.
And, oh, is that why? It makes sense.
It lets more sustain through on the guitar, but I think people have done loads of tests and it's total not.
Well, it does if you get them too high. It's quite problematic on a bass. If you get the pickups close to the G string on a bass,
do you notice
you hear it warble as you go up the neck, particularly when you've got your action quite high. So then if you head up the neck, by fretting, you're bringing it close to the pickup, and suddenly you just get this awful warble when it just, it vibratos itself.
They say it's a sustain thing on guitar.
Right.
I don't know how true that actually is.
I suppose that's possible, but I just noticed there was because the iconic sort of Gretsch Filtertron pickups are really clear and bright. You've got that AC/DC rhythm sound, and when you went to that,
you
it just made me think of that.
Even through a Strat,
even with this, because obviously Strats up. Well, I guess Strats are bitey and aggressive.
Of course.
That's got that bitey top end, but a bit of warmth, which maybe mellows it out to sound a bit more like the clear but less bitey top end of the Gretsch Filtertrons.
Yeah, I really like the top end on that.
That's great.
Really liking it.
So, I'm trying to think, with our barefaced cabs that we sell, because the stock driver's the V30.
Yeah.
We sell a third of them maybe with V30s.
About that, yeah.
Something like that, of the 12s.
Yeah.
And then it's quite a mix, isn't it? We do quite a lot of Greenback M65s. They seem to be popular. It's a really nice sounding speaker.
Yeah, I'd say maybe 15% of the guitar cabs in general are Alnico.
Ah, yeah.
Maybe only about 15%, I'd say.
Yeah. But we don't do many with these lower power ones.
No, that's true.
We do not do that many.
I rarely see a Greenback.
No, not many Greenback M's.
No.
More EVHs?
No.
No?
Very
Fewer
rarely.
EVHs.
You get more A-types than you do EVHs.
Yeah.
I always
That's cool speed. We'll do some stuff with them. But this Anniversary, hardly any of them.
Right, yeah.
And that's amazing.
I took it out of the box and I was like, I don't recognise the back of this.
Maybe people are scared of it because it's only a 30-watt driver, but realistically, how many of you are using more than a 30-watt amp a lot of the time?
Mine's 21.
Yeah.
So, are you using a JCM one, like 800
Exactly.
at 100 watts? Probably not.
That's a great sound, and it's loud. You put that in a 112.
Right. Now with the humbuckers as well.
Yeah.
It's that thing, isn't it? That's my favourite.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Doubt.
Now, I'm not imagining things, am I? When we went from the Greenback to the EVH,
Right.
it sounded brighter.
The EVH did.
Yeah.
I think,
And I thought we sounded different with the Strat.
quickly go to the start on the EVH.
Right, we're on. Yeah, we're on the EVH now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a upper mids thing.
Yeah, it's that
not
that
quite-
low treble bite thing.
It's not top end.
and it's not chunky. It's not as chunky.
No, it's honky.
Yeah.
In quite a nice way. It's so weird because that's the EVH. It's got the sticker on it, but it doesn't make me think of like what I was playing earlier through that at all. That's got a boom in the middle there. That's not quite nice, is it? That one deals with that really well. That's really nice for rhythm. That's got a little bit too much boom in it for the power chords.
That's more articulate and it's tighter and yeah.
Even on humbuckers with.
This feels a lot more old school.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? That's exactly what it is. Yeah, that's. I don't know. The greens were the first one, right? From Celestion, is that true? Or they're early?
I mean, it someone probably knows this better than me, but well, someone definitely knows this better than me. But from what I can understand, is the Greenbacks are the first Celestion ceramic, ferrite magnet driver, and because Celestion have made them for a long time, there's different factories, different parent companies, things moving around the world. But and bear in mind that I don't know of any speaker manufacturers who make everything in house. It's just the nature of manufacturing. So you get companies like, well, quite a lot of audio companies, but for instance, one you all know is Apple. As far as I know, Apple don't make anything. They design stuff, they market stuff, and then they have these massive manufacturing companies who are their subcontractors who build the stuff for them in their big factories. Now with speaker manufacturers, those speaker manufacturers do make the speaker, just as we make the cabinets and fit the speaker in it. But when you're making a speaker, the speaker is made of lots of different components. So in the case of, say, Eminence, who make our custom bass drivers, our 12XN and our 10CR, Eminence get the cones and the dust caps, surrounds, spiders from other manufacturers all around the world who all have different catalogues of parts or will build stuff to order. There'll be a lot of stuff made to order for a large company like Eminence. It's made to their specs. Baskets likewise, they'll be designed and made to order often. So baskets, the frames. I'll show you with the driver here. So this is a G10 vintage I have to have grabbed. Maybe it's easier showing you the 12, they're a bit bigger. But yeah, when companies are making speakers, these are bought in. So these are made of paper, papery, cardboardy stuff. This is a V30, isn't it? Yes. So this is a fabric dust cap. But the speaker manufacturer will be also they will. Lots of these parts will be made to their spec, but not made in that factory, and they will come from all around the world because that's how supply chains are nowadays. They won't be making this front gasket, but they will buy these in from different places. The metal parts here, so you've got the back plate and the yoke, and the top plate, they will usually be machined in the factory. Right. Certainly that Eminence do. The magnets will be made to order. Overseas. Magnet production is pretty nasty stuff. Not just the Neo stuff, that everything, all of that seems to be done in the Far East nowadays, basically, unfortunately, where pollution controls are less stringent. So that's something we'd like to see change. But the manufacturer of the speaker is taking these parts that have come in on containers, so basket, backplate, basket, magnet, cone, dust cap, surround if it's a separate piece or not, spider, and assembling them, gluing them together, along with back plates and top plates that they've often made themselves, and then voice coils that a lot of them are wound. Certainly Eminence wind all their own voice coils, so they're voice coil former and winding machines and stuff, so they're controlling that. Some manufacturers don't even make their own voice coils, they'll be buying them in.
Oh, right.
So for those and there'll be manufacturers out there who aren't even making the back and top plates, so what they're actually doing is all these parts come in from all around the world and they glue them together.
Sure.
You know, so, and obviously the nature of supply chains is that different suppliers go in and out of business, different suppliers may have problems with things, different suppliers may change parts they're supplying to you without telling you, depending on your relationship with them and the tightness of the QC. So things do change, and you know, like here at Barefaced, our QC is super tight.
Yeah.
And we are, frankly, probably quite a pain to quite a lot of our suppliers because we hassle them about stuff all the time.
Totally.
Yeah, so we are really fussy, but you'll get that with a really, you know, these manufacturers that have great reputations, great brand names, on the whole, particularly because speaker manufacturers, even the big ones, Eminence is huge, like 7,000 speakers a day or something they're making. They have a brand name to protect, so they've got to look after the quality of their product, so they will be tight on quality control. They can't be as tight on the cheaper product lines as the more expensive product lines, that's the way it is. You know, that's what you're getting. It's the same with guitars. That is an Electromatic Gretsch, so that's a Chinese-made one. It's not a cheap guitar, but it's nowhere near as expensive as the Japanese-made ones or American custom shop-made ones. Which the American custom shop one, you're looking at literally 10 times the price. One of those. And it'll probably sound very, very similar. Yeah, but you know the fit and finish will be really amazing.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, really amazing.
Not that this is bad in any way. Should we do a bit of cleaning?
Cool, right. I'll stop talking about speakers, but I guess some of you are here for that.
Absolutely.
Oh, we've almost out of time.
All right, a quick little bit of cleaning through these and then done? Yeah.
Hang on.
Where are we in first?
We are on the EVH right now.
Okay. Nice for that.
They are, aren't they?
I didn't expect that. Low output, mellow. Sound just kind of what you want, isn't it? You can always roll it off a little bit, even louder. Maybe not that much. Which one's that's tone, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the anniversary. Sound really nice with that, don't they?
Yeah, they do. I just want to keep playing, basically.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious change is even when you've just played a chord and it's sustaining but diminishing.
Yeah.
You switch from the quieter two, the EVH or the normal Greenback, to the Anniversary, and it's just the volume leaps up.
Still there.
It's a lot louder.
Still sustaining.
Yeah, it's a lot louder.
That's my favourite all round for sure.
That's a great driver.
But really like that for rhythm. The EVH those.
We better sign off before our camera quits on us because it stops at 30 minutes, I think, due to tax codes. So it also means we've been running for quite a long time. So yeah.
Yeah.
Greens.
They're nice.
They're not called greens. It's EVH and Greenback and Anniversary, but they're basically all Greenbacks. I think that's how we should consider them.
Yeah.
20, 25, 30 watts of awesomeness.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll be back. Ask us questions. Like, subscribe.
That's the one.
Follow.
And the little bell.
What does that do?
So you get notifications when you upload a new video.
Oh, the bell. Do the bell. Right, cheers. Thanks. Alex and Lewie from Barefaced. Goodbye.